You won't be seated for a long, long time. Just a little time. One of my favorite authors died a couple of years ago. His name was Frederick Buechner. He was a Presbyterian minister who lived in New York City and then in the countryside in the state of Vermont. He wrote a lot, fiction and nonfiction. And one time he wrote these words, see if I can get them right. I've always thought there's a lot of wisdom in them. Buechner wrote, "You can survive on your own. You can get stronger on your own. You can prevail on your own. But you cannot become human on your own." Those first three things are important things: survive, get stronger, prevail. But it's fascinating that he says, in order for any of us to become human, we cannot do it alone. Now, first of all, you might be thinking, well, I was born human, wasn't I? No. You were born with the potential to become human. And in every generation, some people fulfill that potential, and some people less so. If you take Buechner's word at his word, and that you're going to become human not on your own, who's going to assist? Well, the only possibilities, I think, are God and God's representatives on earth. That is, other people who have themselves or who are in the work of becoming human. One thing is needed to undertake and to complete that work of becoming human. Just one. And Paul mentions it in his letter to the Galatians that we've heard today as our second reading. Jesus talked about it all the time. Paul says the law, the old law, and Jesus' way of life, teaching us how to live, all of it is summed up in love. If you are acting out of love, then by doing so, you are in fact becoming more and more a genuine human being. Where is love aimed? Remember, Jesus taught us, as quoted by Paul, love your neighbor as yourself. So we start with self. You have to take care of yourself. You don't ignore yourself. But otherwise, love is aimed outwardly to other people. To live in such a way that you and I are intent on being aware of the human needs of others and responding to them. Not only the obvious needs, but the ones that are less obvious as well. The gospel today, in chapter 9 of Luke, tells us Jesus set his face to go to Jerusalem. The next 9 or 10 chapters of Luke's gospel, Jesus and his disciples are on the road. Why is he going to Jerusalem? Is he going because he knows people there? Is he going for a house party? No. He's going for one reason. He's going there, and he knows it according to the gospel, Jesus does. He's going to Jerusalem to give his life away, to go to the cross. And the cross is accepted for one reason only, and that reason is love. Christ doesn't go to the cross because, as prior generations before us were taught, sometimes in the church, that God the Father is some almost monster who is so angry at human sin that he will only be appeased if his son dies a terrible death on the cross. That's not the reason. You know in the story of your own life, in your own family, friends that you've known, you have experienced, you can recall people who made a small or a great sacrifice for the sake of another person because of love, because of the love that lives in their hearts. In our first reading today, Elijah and his successor Elisha, the two prophets, great prophets of Israel, are on their way beyond the Jordan River on the day when Elijah and Elisha both know that Elijah will be taken up to heaven away. Why do you think Elisha follows him all the way? The reading, you'll be happy to know, Andrew, you didn't have to read the whole thing. The reading is in segments there. In the whole reading, again, it mentions there are 50 prophets, of what a guild of prophets watching Elijah and Elisha. In the full reading, they again yell to Elisha, the younger prophet, and say, "Your father Elijah is going to be taken up in a whirlwind today. Do you know that?" And Elisha keeps saying, "I know it. Be quiet. Go away." It's really kind of humorous. But through it all, Elisha stays faithful and walks with Elijah until the moment he sees him taken up into heaven to the presence of God. Why is he willing to do that? For one reason, because of love. So Scripture, Old Testament and New, teaches us constantly to choose to live in love in order to choose to become human, to choose to become the type of person that other people want to be in touch with, a person of support, of encouragement, of gentleness. Now, do we always get it right? I don't know about you. I don't. Most of the time I get it wrong. And when I think about the day at the end of the day in prayer, I say, messed up again. But God is not asking us to live in this very human way in order that we should succeed. No, God is asking us simply for the commitment, to be committed to live in that way, and to fail, and to rise up and try again, and to fail 3 more times, and to rise up again, and to try again. And walking with us as we make that attempt are Elijah and Elisha, the figure of Jesus himself, St. Paul and Peter, whom we celebrate today, our own parents, God bless them, and grandparents who have gone before us, some of them laid to rest now. They, by their lives, sometimes more by their actions than by their words, showed us the way to love. Our invitation is to take up that way of love each day and to become more and more and more the human persons that God has created us to be.